Hello and welcome to Theme Park Information. In today's show, we've got a re-review for the Smiler, pretty much the Girl Style Infinity Coaster at Alton Towers in the UK. Now, I actually have a review already on my channel, and as it happens, it's been getting some mixed feedback, which is fair enough. You know, people are entitled to having an opinion, just like myself. But I would like to just make a couple of adjustments to that review, as obviously it was made over a year ago or so. So obviously things change, rides improve, get better. I think by the looks of it, just happened to ride it on a really bad day. It happens. What I said in that review was pretty factually true at the time, but having rereading it recently, it was actually massively improved. So let's go into it on a couple of things. So thing number one, I did say it was rough, and I will be honest, when I went on it, I was shaking pretty much from the start of the ride to the end. This time, however, nowhere near as bad. It was pretty smooth. There were still a couple of moments. The last couple of inversions were really rough. And I believe the section near the end of the Cobra Roll was also really shaky and rough. But overall, the ride was a hell of a lot smoother than it was previously. Second little correction is to do with the soundtrack. I'm not a huge fan of the soundtrack, but thankfully it's actually a hell of a lot longer than it appeared to be when I was waiting for it. So I thought it was a very short musical piece. It's actually quite long, spread out, which is fine. No worries with that. Put my hands up to that. That was something I found out later, typically after doing the review, which always seems to happen. So yeah, no, hands off to that one. Now let's go on to redoing it, if you like. So thing number one is obviously the Smile is pretty sweet roller coaster in terms of the fact it looks amazing off ride. It's a long ride. Obviously it has 2 lift hills, an indoor section, 14 inversions, has some great airtime moments. It looks amazing off ride. It has a great color scheme. It has a really cool theme. And everything kind of fits together really, really nicely. It has a lot going for it when you first see it. I also like the name, the sign, everything. I will say, I think what kills it for me, or one of the reasons I'm not, I seem to always go on this ride in quite a bad mood, if you like, partly because I usually end up waiting an hour and a half or so plus for it, around that sort of time scale. I've never had 2 rides in 10 minutes on it or something like that. I have never ridden it in the front row. I always seem to be in row 3 or 4. So you have to look at that. It's like, look, that's probably where I'm coming from with this. It's a sort of ride which actually has just kind of, over time, annoyed me enough. Also, the last 2 times I've gone to ride it, so this time and the time based on my other review, it has broken down while I've been queuing in the station for it. So I will be honest, let's be honest, I think we can look at it and go, yeah, I had a bit of a checkered history with it. I always seem to be kind of unlucky with it. And I think it just means I have kind of a negative look on it, or I expect the ride to be better than it is. Now, I will say, I don't think it's a bad ride. I actually think it's pretty solid. I think the lack of a drop is a major downside for me. I think some of the inversions are a little bit unimaginative. It has, for example, a lot of dive loops. And what's really about it, I usually really like dive loops, but not on the Spider for some reason. I think it's because they replace the drops on the most part. But what I will say, having reridden it recently, the indoor section is really cool. I will say that. It's obviously a really long ride. Managed to actually get some really good airtime on it as well. So look, it's not dreadful. I'm not saying it's an awful ride, you shouldn't ride it or anything like that. I do enjoy it. It's definitely a massive icon for the park. It looks really cool. It's a very famous ride as well. 14 versions, world record at the moment. So all good. It's one of those rides which is really annoying because you hear it being said that it's underrated and overrated. I both hear it. It's kind of like the UK equivalent of Millennium Force. It's one of those rides where it's look, I do generally like it. I think it's generally a really solid roller coaster. Personally, it's probably a 7, 7.5, maybe pushing an 8. That sort of ballpark, between 7 and 8 out of 10. Generally I would go on it more if I could. I go on it every time I go to Alton Towers. I'll put it that way. It's far from the worst roller coaster I've ridden. I do think it is obviously a tiny bit rough in places. I think obviously I have to usually wait a long time for it, and I do feel that it's not as good as I'm hoping it could possibly be. I'll put it to you this way, I personally prefer hang time to it. That's personal opinion, just gonna put that out there. Yeah, I mean, not by much, not by much, but I prefer it going out, or I prefer Salt the Ride to it. It's like, again, just a personal opinion on it. If you really like this pilot, very understandable. I get why people really enjoy it and really like it. It's fine. No worries. Hopefully this re-review of it will clear a couple of things up. As I said, I'll happily put my hands up and be like, look, soundtrack, definitely got that suggestion wrong in the video. Hold my hands up to that one. Obviously, as well, I'm saying it's not as rough as I found it to be when I last wrote it. So, obviously, that's not so much a mistake on my part. It's just obviously was true at the time, but has since evolved to be wrong. So there we are. Hopefully, you feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned to more content. Can't wait to do a part 3 of this at some point, maybe. It goes badly wrong again, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, guys, have a good day, and I'll catch you on the next video.